First, India has signed trade agreement with EFTA nations including Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway and Switzerland. Agreement to pave way for investment of $100 billion in India over the next 15 years. Now, our next report has all the details that you need to know about this unique agreement. Take a look.
India and the four-nation European Free Trade Association on Sunday signed a trade deal in India's national capital New Delhi in the presence of the country's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and ministers of EFTA countries. Addressing the event, Minister Goyal stated that the trade agreement symbolizes our shared commitment to open, fair and equitable trade.
The trade agreement symbolizes our shared commitment to open, fair, equitable trade as well as generating growth and employment for the youth. In the last 10 years, India's economy has taken a quantum leap, moving from being the world's 11th largest economy to the 5th largest. Through wide-ranging reforms, we have enhanced the ease of doing business that has helped our nation touch new heights in business, manufacturing and exports. India will extend all possible support to EFTA countries and facilitate industry and businesses.
The European Free Trade Association is the intergovernmental organization of Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway and Switzerland. EFTA countries are not part of the European Union. India's exports to EFTA countries during 2022-2023 stood at $1.92 billion. Imports aggregated at $16.74 billion during the same period. EFTA has 29 free trade agreements with 40 partner countries including Canada, Chile, China, Mexico and Korea. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights of India-EFTA deal. India and EFTA have been negotiating the pact since 2008. Agreement has 14 chapters including trade in goods, rules of origin, intellectual property rights, trade in services, investment promotion and cooperation, government procurement, technical barriers to trade and trade facilitation. The agreement, along with greater market access, also has commitment for investment of $100 billion in India over the next 15 years to generate 1 million jobs. Countries like Switzerland have eliminated import duties on industrial goods while maintaining them on agricultural products. Deal could see a reduction of tariffs on gold, a significant demand from the trading bloc, particularly Switzerland. After the India-EFTA deal, India could see higher imports of machinery, pharmaceuticals, medical instruments and machinery, as there would be a sharp reduction in Indian tariffs. India is also looking at the EFTA deal to help diversify imports away from China. India currently depends on China for key medical imports. Free trade agreements play a key role for a fast-growing large economy like India. Along with other advantages, FTAs allow exporters access to international market at low custom duties. India has been discussing free trade agreements with several partners, both bilateral and regional. India-UK FTA negotiations are said to be at an advanced stage. India so far has inked 13 free trade agreements with its partners, the most recent ones with Mauritius, UAE and Australia.
And to discuss more on this, I am joined by DD India correspondent Jessica Taneja. Jessica, good afternoon. When we talk about this particular European free trade agreement with India, which has become a reality after so many years and around 21 roundtable meetings, what are the key highlights that we are looking through the lens of this EFTA? Jessica.
Well, the four countries of the European Free Trade Association, as you pointed out, have signed the FTA or the Trade Economic Pact with the partnership agreement with India, and that certainly holds immense potential for and growth for India's, primarily for India's services sector as well, because that is where most of the exchange happens. And if you go and look at India's trade with the other countries like Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Iceland and Norway, well, this EFTA, as you pointed out, has been in the talks since 2008, and now when you look at the firmed up up details, it's interesting to see that few sectors have also been left out apart from the ones that have been included, especially when it comes to the agriculture and dairy sector, because these are the two sectors that are sensitive to both for both the EFTA countries as well as India. So keeping that out of the entire agreement, everything else has been put forth. Let me point out some of the important sectors that tend to benefit from this in the next 15 years. As you know, $100 billion worth of investment. We're looking at millions of jobs, and primarily that comes in the farmer sector, the renewable energy sector, dyes, and as you also pointed out, the machinery, the expensive machinery that is imported for food processing. And now remember, a lot of India's export is also generated from the food processing industry, and that would get a big boost, especially heavy machinery that is imported incurs a lot of costs. So with the kind of technology that these four countries offer, it could give a greater advantage to India, especially when European countries, apart from EU countries, apart from the EFTA countries, are also looking to diversify their supply chains and set up their manufacturing bases in India. Of course, given the pivot right now is China. So India technically looking like a potential economic hub, which has the demographic advantage on its side compared to many Southeast Asian nations at this point.
Indeed, Jessica, when we talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's message that came after soon after this, the deal was signed, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also been asserting that this is going to be a tech aid for the country, and he's also been asserting continuously on self-reliant India. What are the different benefits that the employment sector and people who are looking forward to job opportunities are going to get from this, Jessica?
Well, the services sector for one, and also the manufacturing sector would see a big boost in the coming years as India takes on the larger bulk manufacturing back home, and of course the skilled labor that would be at the back or would be supporting this through and through. So India has made commitments on those fronts as well, and as a potential economic hub, there's a lot more that has been promised through this deal, and we can see the kind of tech investments in the future, particularly in green tech. Now, if you look at Norway, the sovereign wealth fund, which is the largest investment fund in the world, with investments worth 1.6 trillion. It's worth $1.6 trillion, and its investment in India so far has been close to 15 billion. So they're looking to expand that portfolio as well, looking at green technologies. Of course, the climate fund is a separate one, but at this point there is huge focus on technological exchange, especially in a country like India that has been putting forth a lot of importance and impetus on tech innovation. So a lot of that exchange could benefit sectors, as I pointed out earlier, which would see a big boost.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the latest development, which means a lot for India, its development, GDP, and its positioning as the top third economy across the world, as it wishes to be. Thank you so much, Jessica.